Hello and welcome. I am Thomas Porteous and you are watching Primetime Asia. Let's take a look at some of the top headlines coming out of the region this hour. Turkey's foreign defence and intelligence chiefs will travel to Pakistan this week to discuss ceasefire talks with Afghanistan, President Erdogan has said. The trip seeks to broker a permanent peace deal between the neighbouring nations. At least 2 people have died as super typhoon Feng Wong slams into central and eastern Philippines, cutting power lines across the Bicol region. Over 1 million people have been evacuated ahead of its expected landfall in Aurora province. A 26-year-old Palestinian man has been shot dead during an Israeli army raid on the Farah refugee camp near Tubas. Palestinian officials say Abdul Rahman Darawasha died from gunshot wounds after troops opened fire on Saturday night. Pakistan's 27th Amendment gives Army Chief Asim Munir command over all forces while limiting Supreme Court powers. The move marks a historic shift in civil-military relations, sparking fierce debate. Pakistan Railways has suspended Jaffar Express services until November the 12th amid security threats in Balochistan. Officials say the step is preventative due to growing risks to passenger safety. Bangladesh police have staged security drills in Dhaka amid growing fears of political unrest. Authorities say the exercises aim to ensure order as tensions rise between rival factions. The Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad has arrested 3 ISIS suspects ahead of planning attacks on Indian cities. Investigators say the men were radicalized online and targeting public locations. Nepalese officials have found the bodies of 2 Indians who disappeared while trekking in Mangyang. Search teams faced harsh weather and the Indian embassy is helping with repatriation. Now we start this hour and Turkey's foreign and defence ministers and intelligence chief plan to travel to Pakistan this week to discuss its stop-start talks with Afghanistan over a ceasefire in place in South Asia, announced by President Tayyip Erdogan. According to an official readout of the Turkish president's comments on a return flight from Baku, where he met Pakistani Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, Erdogan said the visit aims to seal a permanent ceasefire and peace between the nations as soon as possible. This comes as reports circulate of comments made by the Afghan foreign minister in a phone call with his Iranian counterpart, where Amir Khan Muttaqi said the Pakistani side had been unwilling to take responsibility for certain issues, which hindered progress and prevented concrete outcomes. Okay, now joining us is Major General Dr. Rajan Kochhar. He's a senior strategic and defence expert and he joins us live from New Delhi. Dr. Kochhar, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsOaks World. Turkey and Pakistan say they're closely to sealing a framework with the Taliban government. What concrete outcomes can we expect from this meeting later this week?
Thank you, Thomas. It's a very interesting development because we were not hearing good news about talks between Pakistan and Afghanistan. As a matter of fact, strong statements were emanating from both sides, whereas Pakistan Defence Minister Khwaja Asif also made a statement that if there is any incident on the border from the Afghan side, then Pakistan will launch an attack and that will be the end of the ceasefire. This ceasefire as it is very, very fragile because none of the agreements or is none of the issues which have been mentioned in this particular thing have been actually reconciled. So I think it's extremely important now to understand one thing. Turkey is coming in. Turkey was also earlier also involved because all these talks were in Istanbul, and Turkey wants to project itself as a leader of the Islamic world, and that's why everywhere it wants to project an image that Turkey is one of the leaders of the Islamic world, and we have seen this happening in the Middle East also. So now possibilities, I don't think certain important agreements, certain important confidence building measures will have to be initiated. The first is that there would be a need for a monitoring cell in which you may like to have some UN observers or from Qatar and Turkey, because it's extremely important to understand that Pakistan's main desire has been that there should not be any uh, shelter to the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan from the Afghanistan soil. So this monitoring cell is required to ensure that there is no violation of that kind. That is point number one. Point number two is that the major contentious issue is the Durand line. So you can have a temporary ceasefire, you can have a temporary lull, but the major issues subsequently will have to be taken up, and through a mediator, if you want to take up. I think Turkey can be a mediator because Turkey is very close to Pakistan, and Turkey leadership is close to on Afghanistan leadership also. But I feel that I think a stepwise solution or a stepwise process would be better. The first would be to establish a monitoring cell so that Pakistan is assured that there is no Taliban support to Tehreek-e-Taliban, and then you can come up to the issues. Second important aspect is they would need to establish military hotlines. You, as India and Pakistan have these hotlines, so advantage of these hotlines is that the moment some small incident has taken place on the border, it should not escalate into a major kind of action either by Pakistan or Afghanistan. So these hotlines are basically de-escalation mechanisms.
Yes.
And I think there would be a requirement to establish these hotlines. And the next important aspect is those corridors, Chaman and Torkham, those are the places where the entry and exit from Afghanistan into Pakistan and vice versa takes place. Those are the trade routes. Trade must commence, because this is one important aspect, because unless you commence the trade between the two countries, you will not expect normalization to take place. And my last point is about the refugees. They are almost 8 to 10 lakh refugees in Afghanistan, in Pakistan. So Pakistan has already started a process of troubling them, identifying them, and sending them back. So I think in the talks with the Turkey, refugee issues must also come, and I think
Yes.
what the Afghanistan Foreign Minister Mutaki was actually referring to, because Pakistan should also understand that these kind of actions, if they take against the Afghani refugees, is likely to create a heartburn among the leadership of Taliban. So these are,
Yes.
in a nutshell, I feel, major issues which would need to be addressed.
Yes, and Dr. Kachar, of course, these talks are set to resume next week. Just very briefly, because we have to move on, who has more leverage going into them, Islamabad or Kabul?
Leverage, I feel that Pakistan should have the more leverage, because Pakistan is a stronger country. Pakistan has the resources here to cause some kind of friction in Afghanistan. So I think Pakistan has a leverage available to it to negotiate with the Taliban. And one important aspect is, after all, this Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, they are Pakistani Pashtuns. So their families are residing in Pakistan. Taliban also has their families, their children who are
Yes.
studying in Pakistan. A, a large population of Afghanistan is studying in Pakistan, working in Pakistan. So that kind of leverage Pakistan has, as I actually mentioned to you, the refugee issue, that's a big leverage which Pakistan has.
Yes, Dr. Kachar, do stay with us. We have further stories coming out of South Asia coming up next. Pakistan's government has proposed the 27th constitutional amendment, a major restructuring of the military and judiciary. The bill makes Army Chief Asim Munir the constitutionally supreme head of all armed forces, abolishing the post of Chairman Joint Chiefs of Staff. Munir will also oversee Pakistan's nuclear and strategic arsenal as Chief of Defence Forces. Officers awarded 5-star ranks like Field Marshal will gain a lifetime privilege and constitutional protections. The amendment also creates a new federal constitutional court, reducing the Supreme Court's powers and increasing executive influence over judicial appointments. Supporters call it modernisation. Critics warn it centralises military power and weakens civilian oversight. Now, if passed, it will mark Pakistan's most significant defence and judicial reform in decades. Joining us once again is Dr. Kachar to discuss this development coming out of Pakistan. General Asim Munir, an individual who Donald Trump is a big fan of, has now unified command under this new 27th Amendment, while Pakistan's Supreme Court powers are being curtailed. Is this effectively a return to a quote-unquote controlled democracy?
This is an interesting development. The 27th Constitution Amendment and as well as the Article 243 of the Constitution, which lays down how the various appointments, how the armed forces is going to function under the government and things like that. So I think first we should understand that they want to have a chief of defense forces. That means the army chief. And I would name Field Marshal Munir here. He wants to control all the three services, Army, Air Force and Navy. So one major aspect of this constitutional amendment is that the entire powers of the armed forces are going to be with one man, and he is General Munir.
Yeah.
Second important aspect is of the nuclear aspect. The nuclear, like we have the strategic forces command, they are going to have a national strategic command, and there will be either a 4-star general part of this who will be actually heading it. So why this is disturbing is from the present arrangement is the nuclear control also General Munir wants to keep it with him, because right now we have the NSA, NCA, National Command Authority, where the Prime Minister is actually heading the authority, and we have the Chief of Defence Staff also part of this, and the Chief of Army Staff, and the Chief of Naval, and the Air Force. Now, what happens that once you nominate a commander of the National Strategic Command, he is going to exercise operational control over all the nukes, and he is going to report to the CDF. So this is an interesting change. We would like to see how the blueprint emerges, but apparently what I can make out now is that General Munir wants to consolidate the nuclear power also with him. The third important aspect, actually, you mentioned about the judicial aspects. So now a provision is being made in the Constitution that whatever the powers of the Chief of Army Staff or the CDS, they would not be under judicial review or scrutiny, and that is disturbing. So we would like to see, as the blueprint is passed by the Parliament, what kind of judicial curtailment of powers has been proposed in this constitution amendment bill. And a last important aspect is that uh, there seems to be a military dominance over the civil dominance, and we are actually seeing this happening. Right from Operation Sindoor, we saw this happening. So
Yes.
it is slowly an impression is being given that a transfer of powers is taking place from the civilian control to the military control without a coup taking place. So I would call it in my own language a constitutional coup, because this is a coup of a different kind, and this is a coup you orchestrated through the constitution by actually having an amendment to the constitution. You are trying to create an environment where the military is going to assume stronger control, greater control than the civilian authority. And that is why I say, as you also actually mentioned, that this is a threat to the democratic fabric of the Pakistani society as it is. We know
Yes.
that there is no democracy in Pakistan as of now.
Yes, and Dr. Kochhar, of course, officially on paper, Pakistan is a federal parliamentary republic. However, the military and intelligence establishment wield decisive power in Pakistan already. For those international viewers that don't know, Dr. Kochhar, would you mind filling us in a little bit about the power that the military and intelligence service holds in Pakistan currently, even prior to this amendment?
See, prior to this amendment, the way Pakistan actually functions is that Pakistan army by itself is very, very powerful, because the entire security of the Prime Minister, including the Prime Minister's house, is done by the Pakistan army. There is an officer, there is a secretariat there. It's a very, very different setup. We have not seen this in any actually country. There is a secretariat in the Prime Minister's residence, which is manned by a senior officer of the Pakistan army, and he has got all his guards and people there. So it is giving an impression in general to the Prime Minister also that you are not an independent Prime Minister, you are controlled by the military. Second aspect is the Prime Minister cannot take any decision without the concurrence of the army chief, because of the over sort of influence of the army chief in the matters which are political in nature. I'll give you an example. In the last elections, we saw how Imran Khan and his supporters ransacked the Corps commander's residence in Lahore, and how things after that Imran Khan was put under arrest and jail. And military courts are trying these cases. You can imagine that there is a military court which is parallelly running to the Supreme Court in Pakistan. So this is also
Okay.
a very, very different kind of an equation which we find in Pakistan, because no foreign relations in Pakistan can be accomplished without consent of the military, and that is why President Trump is he is inviting the Field Marshal again and again.
Yes.
He is giving the importance to the Field Marshal on all matters, including political affairs. So you can see the cloud military is playing in Pakistan.
Yes, Dr. Kochhar, do stay with us. We have further news coming out of Pakistan, where Pakistan Railways has suspended the Jaffar Express service between Quetta and Peshawar for 4 days from November the 9th to the 12th due to security reasons in Balochistan. The suspension follows several attacks on the train, including the deadly March hijacking by the Balochistan Liberation Army, which killed a total of 26 people. The decision, advised by security agencies, aims to protect passengers and railway staff. Locals are concerned about the impact on thousands of commuters who depend on the affordable train service. The Jaffar Express has been repeatedly targeted by insurgents in recent months, with multiple incidents of attacks and derailments. We will, of course, bring you all the news in regards to that as we move forward. But now we have breaking news coming out of the Middle East. And the Israeli military announced that the Red Cross has received the remains of a hostage previously reported by Hamas as Officer Haydar Goldin, who died in the 2014 Gaza war. Israeli forensic teams will verify the identity once the remains reach Israel. The coffin is currently being transferred under the Red Cross custody to IDF troops in Gaza. And here, of course, on NewsX World, we will bring the updates straight to you when we get them. Now we move to India for our next story, and in a major counter-terror operation, the Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad, otherwise known as the ATS, has arrested 3 men allegedly plotting terror attacks across India. The accused, Dr. Ahmed Mohammadin Syed, Mod Suhail and Azad Sulman Safi, who were apprehended while supplying weapons near the Adalaj Toll Plaza in Gujarat. Officials say the arrests thwarted a major conspiracy aimed at executing large-scale attacks in multiple Indian cities. According to Gujarat ATS Dig Sunil Joshi, the suspects had been under surveillance for nearly a year, and the ATS received intelligence that Dr. Ahmed Mohammadin, a 35-year-old from Hyderabad, was involved in terrorist activities and planning to visit Ahmedabad. Acting on this input, the ATS tracked his movements and intercepted him at the Adalaj Toll Plaza. During the operation, the ATS recovered 2 Glock pistols, 1 Beretta pistol, 30 live cartridges and 4 litres of castor oil. Castor oil is a chemical used in the production of deadly poison ricin. Officials revealed that Dr. Mohammadin, who holds an MBBS degree from China, was attempting to prepare ricin as part of his terror plan. Okay, now once again joining us is Dr. Kachar to discuss this development coming out of the Indian state of Gujarat. What does this reveal about the evolving landscape evolving terror landscape in India?
It's a very, very important aspect because time and again we have busted this. Last month there was a terror plot to target certain areas during Diwali in Delhi and Bhopal, and 2 people were caught and they were linked to the ISIS, and one a chartered accountant was also arrested. So we are actually seeing that people are being radicalized from the civil society here. People who are in professions like you mentioned, there is a doctor who has done his MBBS from China, then there are CAs, then there are other people who are working in the government offices in responsible positions who you would least suspect them to be involved in helping these modules. There are a number of sleeper cells also we have actually seen now in Gujarat, in the Ahmedabad and the Gandhinagar area. It has been reported that these sleeper cells have been functioning, and these sleeper cells have also been functioning in the southern part of India. So I think this is a dangerous trend, and our intelligence agencies need to be extremely vigilant and concerned, and we have to have a better policing, and the civil society has to play a more important role, because if you see anything happening in your neighborhood, anything unnatural, or there are some people who are collecting in a particular house at regular intervals, those aspects must be reported to the nearest police station or chowki there, and police also needs to have verification. The landlords, whomsoever you are giving your houses on rent, You need to verify the antecedents of the people of the tenants whom you are giving your houses. So all this, a responsible civil society has to play an important role. You cannot leave everything to the government.
Yes.
It's not possible for the government to carry out. Crores of people are staying in India. How will you able to make out who's carrying out a clandestine activity or not? So I think
Yes.
the role of civil society becomes very important here.
Yes, Dr. Kachar, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. Pleasure to have you on the programme. We stay in South Asia for our next story, and Bangladesh police have conducted a large-scale coordinated security drill across Dhaka ahead of the disbanded Awami League's planned Dhaka lockdown protest on November the 13th. Reports say around 7,000 police personnel took part in the exercise at 142 key locations, including the residence of interim government chief Mohammed Yunus. The Dhaka Metropolitan Police described the move as a regular security exercise, though it comes amid rising fears of unrest following the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Witnesses reported a heavy police presence, with officers in riot gear conducting vehicle and bag checks. The drill follows the partial withdrawal of army troops last week, who had been on duty for over a year. Hasina was deposed after a student-led protest in August of 2024 and is currently being tried in absentia for alleged crimes against humanity. Okay, now joining us is Prashanta Kumar Shil, a political commentator joining us live from the Bangladeshi capital. Thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World. Of course, Bangladesh's police have staged major anti-riot drills in Dhaka, with thousands of police being deployed across the capital. Does this reflect real intelligence on planned unrest, or a message of deterrence ahead of this planned political activity by the banned Awami League?
Yes, it's a very interesting. You know that after we see that ousted Prime Minister from Sheikh Hasina from Bangladesh, almost 1 year passed already. So this is a very big, actually, procession for the bandit, still now bandit organization in Bangladesh, political party. This is the Bangladesh Awami League, the big party in Bangladesh, and they have declared a party that is Dhaka March, and that is lockdown to Dhaka. So this is it's a very interesting for the political parties, especially the law and order and everything. We are very surprising to see what is happening in the November 30. What is happening? What is the scenario in Dhaka from November 30? Very interesting. And already you know that November 13 is very crucial for the some important events, especially you know that the now the ICT International Criminal Court and Justice from Bangladesh humanitarian ground Sheikh Hasina is the verdict from our from this court, and her verdict is confirmed from November 13th. So the Awami League fan follower, they know what the legal total framework of our justification of court and what is the verdict from our court can declare. So the people know, and the fan follower already know. So this is a very unrest situation for the who are the supporter of Bangladesh Awami League, and they know it's a confirmed death penalty of the Sheikh Hasina. So the people don't, especially the Awami League supporter people are take it not a very positive way. You know that the same confirmation you see in the 3 or 4 months ago, that's in Gopalganj, the same scenario. We see that the brutal scenario from the recently reformed student party that is called NCP, National Citizen Party, versus Awami League supporter. We see that there is at least three died from that kind of incident and march. And so this is a very new scenario for Bangladesh. What is happening from the November 13th? Because Awami League is still banned, and their spokesperson Jahangir Kabir Nanak is here from in India. So he announced that there is something unrest situation and everything is possible during the situation. So we are waiting what is happening on November 13th, and especially our Home Minister and other from the law enforcement authority. There's nothing happening to November 13. But isn't that the surveillance team and other team they haven't confirmed. Still, there is some actually uh, happening from the November 30. We are waiting. What is happening? The political unrest situation. So the memorandum issues. So lots of thinking in Bangladesh and politics nowadays. We are waiting. What is happening? The present situation, and we're just waiting to see our Court of Criminal Justice verdict, and also see the what happening, and it is possible to come back for the Awami League supporter and Awami League to the political discernment at this the issue. So lots of argument in here, and we're just waiting what is happening for next in our future politics.
Yes, Prashanta Kumar Shil, thank you very much for joining us here on NewsX World and bringing us more insight on that situation coming out of Dhaka today. We now move back over to India, to Nepal actually, and the bodies of two Indian nationals, Jignesh Kumar Lalabhai Patel, he's 52 years old, and his daughter Priyasha Kumari Patel, aged 17, who were missing since October the 20th, have been recovered in Manang district. The father and daughter, who had left Gyalsen Hotel to visit Malapriya Monastery, failed to return, prompting a search operation. After failed attempts, a trained rescue team deployed by the armed police force located the bodies under snow about 100 meters from the monastery. Efforts to bring the bodies down from the site are now underway. And that's a wrap on Primetime Asia. Keep watching NewsX World for more international news updates.
What we can